Murphy-Droomer is my name, and I want to warmly welcome you to this interview in the series that is all about unleashing the audacious woman within. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to Holly Homer. Holly, although she chokes a little bit over being called an online influencer, oh my goodness, she has earned the title. With her Facebook community, Quirky Momma, with over 3.5 million followers, her blog, which she's been building for over 12 years, gets 10 million views when she posts. So she is without a doubt an incredible influencer. She is inspiring. She is raw and real and authentic in every way possible. And I am so excited to introduce you to her. So if you've ever had some inkling to create a business out of any kind of quirky, crazy idea, this interview is for you. Welcome, Holly, and thank you so much for being with us today.
I am so excited to be here. I'm all about just about everything we're about to talk about.
We've got the giggles happening, and the conversation hasn't even really started yet. So let's dive straight in. For those in our audience that haven't had the pleasure of meeting you yet, would you tell us a little bit about your phenomenal story and how you came to be doing the work that you're doing now?
So I accidentally started a blog 15 years ago. I was just looking for some adult conversation and just to kind of keep a friendship that at that time. And so I was a stay-at-home mom and with 3 little boys at the moment, and it just was super overwhelming. In my previous life, I had been a professional. I was a physical therapist. I ran a pain clinic. I went to work and people listened to me. And so all of a sudden I'm in this chaos that is the home, when you have little kids, and just a little spirally. And so I started this blog by accident and I called it June Cleaver Nirvana. And, my goal there was just to start. Well, my goal at the start was just I was like, oh my gosh, I can put pictures on the internet so I don't have to make scrapbooks anymore, which means I will save so much money. I had a very bad scrapbooking habit. And so this was how I got started. So I started posting pictures. I was like, oh, my mom can see them. I don't have to make her a scrapbook. Oh, my aunt can see them. I don't have to make her a scrapbook. And so I just started talking about kind of what was happening at my house and posting pictures and through the years, which is crazy, I've built a blog called kidsactivities.com that now has we had a month this year that had 10 million readers. And so and then I have a Facebook page called Quirky Momma that has 3.5 million fans on it. And it is what I do for a living. And my husband retired 2.5 years ago to join the company. And my kids are in and out of it whenever I can talk them into it. Yeah. But it is our business, and I now teach people how to do that as well, and have a coaching program. But the main thing is this is something that is completely unexpected. I was a physical therapist. Yeah. When you all were in like writing classes and creative classes, I was in a science lab. And so the fact that you tell myself from 20 years ago, you're going to be an influencer, whatever the heck that means, online with a website where you have people writing for you and running all this stuff. It is mind-boggling because nothing on the surface set me up for this. Yep. But I think as we go a little deeper into this, everything from my past set me up for this. And I think it's one of the things that, if I had to sit down, even as 15 years ago when I started this blog and someone said, what are your goals here? What do you want to do? like I would have kept them so small and so, so, restrictive.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I really believe in, just following the signs, following the passion, trying new things. If you like it, keep going in that direction. If you don't, pivot a little bit. But that's where that's what built what I do today, is just by following kind of the success where I succeeded, even though I didn't have any experience in it.
Yeah. Following what you enjoy doing, I guess. I mean, I'm thinking about a client that sent me a message last night, and she was so excited because she'd finally launched her blog, and she's been thinking about this and agonizing over it for like a year.
Yeah.
And the difference in that story to yours, not making anybody right or wrong, we all have a process.
Oh, yeah.
But you just started talking about something that you love talking about a little bit at a time, with no expectation of where it was going to go.
Well, and I do think I was at a benefit starting this 15 years ago, when nobody was making money as a blogger. I mean, in fact, you said you're a blogger. Well, this was even before blogging became uncool or cool, or, like it was really early in the process. We didn't even know what that meant. I mean, I remember like I was 3 weeks in, and, I literally didn't know anybody did this. And I was 3 weeks in, I got my first comment that wasn't my mom or like my friend, and I clicked through, and she had like a blog roll, and I was like, oh my gosh, other people do this, and kind of went through that. And those became like my, my supportive community, those blogs that were in her sidebar. And, when one of us figured out how to do something, it was like the secret email chain that would go around. How did you do that? Because that was back before, when you Googled how to blog, anything came up. I mean, that was crazy early in this whole process. And I think it was such a blessing to me, especially, to not have what a blog means or what it's supposed to look like in my mind as I went forward. Whereas I think today there's more pressure, because there's people like me that have been online for 15 years, and they're like, well, I can never do it like she did. Well, yeah, if you look at those early blog posts, I promise you could do it just like I did it.
Yeah. I remember the first time I posted something, and my youngest son, who must have been about 9 or 10 at the time, commented on it, and I snapshotted it and put it on my Facebook page and said, I've got a fan.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think that's part of, and one of the reasons why, I really encourage people to just try something.
Yeah.
Because the other side of that is, what if you plan this for a year, and then get in it and you're like, you know what? I can't think of anything to write when I stare at a screen. So trying things out, even though it's not going to go well the first few times, or the first few 100 times in some cases, it's okay, because every single thing you try is going to give you insight on not only yourself, but your skills, your capabilities, your willingness to stand up in this world when it's easier to lay in bed and watch Netflix.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So for the women that are listening, that have been playing with this idea for a while, the idea of 10 million readers is paralyzing to most women. Most women be going, oh, I want to post it, but what if somebody reads it? Person reads it, it's like the panic sets in. So I would love to just, how do we encourage women to, what is the process, the first step? And I love that you just happen to love scrapbooking, so you just start talking there. But for people that are starting, how do you talk them through that?
So one of the things that I feel like we've missed a little bit with this whole, early days of social media, people were like, oh, this is so cool. I can connect with people I haven't seen in a really long time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, early days of Facebook, which by the way, I was writing anonymously until Facebook came out. And then I realized I had to kind of claim my words. And so, you know, that was a whole, and besides the fact, 15 years ago, we didn't know if there was just axe murderers on the internet or if there was other people too. So, you know, like there was a whole process there, but you know, early on, it was really clear that like, oh, social media connects people. And then, you know, and then people were like, oh, well, I'll connect with more people. And then companies came in and were super awkward about connecting with people. And then those, I don't know if it was when they started teaching it in school. I don't know where it was where we started being like weird about it. But the truth is social media online is all about you and I connecting.
Yeah.
And you and I can sit here on Zoom and chat, or we could sit across from each other in a coffee shop, or we could read each other's work online. It's all the same process.
Yeah.
And this takes the pressure off immensely when you think about it that way. When I'm just talking to Edwina, or I'm just talking to so-and-so. But the other side of that is if you think about your dear, dear friends, and if you're going to sit down and let's say we're going on a weekend girls trip, and let's bring our top 5 like female friends, and we're all going to hang out. We're going to, you know, pop open a bottle of wine, and by 10:30 that night, we will be in a pile of tears over the most ridiculous things that have ever happened to us in our life. The time that we were so embarrassed that we couldn't believe we said such and such. And when so-and-so, you know, did this ridiculous thing that backfired, and how like, that's what we bond over. Yeah. We bond over the silly little dumb stuff that we do every day. We bond over like, when you say something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I felt just like that. But yeah, then we march into social media like, hey, so like, I'm Kim Kardashian. I'm really, stop. Like, no, you're not. You're freaking not. And you know what? Yeah. Kim and I are not friends. Do you know why? Because I like people who I can laugh with. And I mean, she might be lovely to her friends. I don't know that much about her, but the bottom line is I remember back like when we were blogging, you know, kind of the early days of blogs where there wasn't any like lifestyle blogs yet. This was kind of pre Pinterest. And so Martha Stewart was the only one out there, you know, doing crafts and making food other than, you know, some other things, but she was predominantly that. But like, nobody connected with Martha Stewart. Like it was like opening her magazine. And in fact, like if you would have said, hey, Holly, 10 years ago, Martha Stewart's coming over your house, I'd be like, no, like absolutely not. Now, think about when that changed. She went to jail, and all of a sudden, she's kind of interesting. And like, she's welcome at my house today, by the way. And I wouldn't even clean up that much. But so like, stop with this nonsense of trying to be this person that nobody will connect with, because nobody's going to connect with it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Too much perfection is just exhausting.
Yeah. And like, if you're going to be on the internet for, you know, like, and I've done lots and lots of live video, like hours and hours and months of live video. And, you know, you really realize if you're not yourself, there is a point where you just can't even keep it up any longer. So like, you might as well just start with that thought of, hey, like, I kind of suck at this right now, but like, I have something I want to say that, you know, might help someone. And when that happens and someone hears like whatever it is that resonates with them, they couldn't care less if your hair was done, or if your blog site was beautiful, or that picture was amazing, or your Instagram is, I don't know, whatever. Like, it's all about the connection. And when you think about it, it's all about the connection of how you're making the other person feel. So this is literally not about you at all. Literally not about you. Stop it.
Takes off so much pressure. It's just like, relax.
Yeah, stop worrying about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. And I think, so many, particularly, I think most of my audience are in the 40 plus category. And we've grown up with this really strongly held belief that we get to be an expert when we've got the degree.
Right.
Until we got the degree, we really don't have the right to share our opinions or our thoughts because it's not scientifically proven. So I love this conversation where we can just blow that out of the water. If you are the queen at making the perfect cupcake or scrapbooking or whatever it is that we've picked up, the wisdom that we pick up on this journey called life, we get to share it, because it can help somebody that's coming behind. Yeah.
We absolutely do. And I feel like it is our duty to share it, because, one of the, I learned to cook during the pandemic, but up until now, no cooking happening in my house. I have did I mention I have 3 teenage boys?
Yes.
Not necessarily the best, not, star mom material, where I'm trying to juggle all that stuff. And thankfully my husband does do more than I do, but in that department, but things like that, if I had said, oh, we can't have food on the blog until I can cook well, never would have happened. Still wouldn't be that much, and I think this is where we know what problems are in the world. I know it's damn hard to get dinner on the table if you haven't been thinking about it all day. So what are how can I put that out into the internet in a way that's helpful? Yeah. Hey, I found these things that are helpful. Or one of the other things that was a real problem and I blame Martha Stewart, but is that all these photos were in all these activities and crafts and stuff were these perfect projects that, would cost $100 to put together. And I'm writing about kids' activities. That's not a plan. You need something that you can open up your kitchen junk drawer, pull few things out, and you only need to occupy that kid for 2 or 3 minutes to do whatever you need to do, and so it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be planned. In fact, it's better if it's not planned. So this is the actual problem we're facing. We're not actually facing, this glossy magazine version of our lives. That's not what we're facing. Yeah. And I'm really bad at writing that too, by the way. So this is when you go back and say, what, if I don't need a degree in child psychology. I need to be able to say, hey, I noticed that my kid was doing this weird thing. And then I did some research and I read this book didn't help. This book helped. That book kind of helpful. Oh, and then I thought about it for 20 minutes and then I ignored it. It didn't go away. And you take people through the process, and guess what? I learned this about both me and my kid that's helping us. Yeah. And when another mom reads any part of that, there's oh my gosh, that's the information I needed right now. That's when you actually connect with someone else. Yeah. And so we can't wait. And by the way, my other passion is there are people out there on the internet selling crap in your niche. And it is because you haven't stepped forward. Yes. They don't know you have it. Yeah. They don't know that you know it. They don't know that you're the expert in it. And people are being taken advantage of because you're not out there selling it.
Yep. Yes. Yes. And I know, I just want to really stress that point. When we are looking at Instagram or Facebook and the people that we're looking at, if you look at and not, let's not make it a pick on Kim Day, but Kardashians or whatever, there's no, you know, that connection's not there. It's kind of looking in from the outside at some world that you don't relate to, or I can't relate to. The ones that I love, I lean in, I really want to watch and learn from, are where I can see myself in that story. So for the women that are watching this, it's like, just share you, do you, and people will connect. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. So I had done, if people haven't been on the internet for very long, they may not know that Google used to have a social network called Google Plus. And the reason why I got involved in that, it was the first platform that allowed live video.
Yep.
I'm terrible at editing video. So it was one of those obstacles that I was like, I won't ever edit this. So if I have to watch myself back, I will just delete it. But live video called out to me because it was stuck. I was stuck. And so I started doing live video on Google Plus, and then Facebook Live was announced, but only super fancy people got it for a while. And but you know, so I just kept watching. And the day that my page, Quirky Momma, got live video, it was like a Friday afternoon, and I was like, oh, I can go live. And then I'm like, well, what am I going to talk about? Like, and I thought, you know, what is my most popular, you know, post like on my blog? And it's like, oh, potty training. I've potty trained 3 boys, pretty good at it or pretty bad at it, which either way you want to look at it. So, and I thought it would be an engaging, you know, with live video, anytime you're starting, a hint is to do something that people have an experience with. We'll talk to you about. So I go live just an hour or two after I got it. I go live and let's talk about potty training. My very first comment was, you're so ugly. Obviously a troll, but here I am. Like, and I just like, it kind of stopped me in my track. Luckily, I had been doing live video, although on Google Plus, there really never was anyone watching live. It was always more about YouTube later. But, and I thought for a second, and I was like, I just said, no, I'm not. And I just kept talking. And obviously banned that guy once I figured out how to do that later in the thing. And I had a completely lovely conversation with hundreds and hundreds of moms, you know, all talking about potty training. Hopefully someone learned something, you know, and really potty training, it's just about courage. And so like, but I think back on what if that comment had just derailed what, like it literally, like, there was a time a few years ago where we were doing 3 and 4 hours of live video every single night. Yeah. What if I had allowed that to derail me? Yeah. And what if I had been in a different frame of mind where that could have, like, that's a comment that still stings today, even though it's so dumb because it's not true. It's some troll. But in order, we have to take the power back, and not allow, like, my mission could have been derailed because of some doofus. Like, I mean, like literally a doofus. The interesting thing that was secondary to that was about 2 weeks later, and I was going live pretty frequently on my page, just with these conversations, is I got an email from Facebook and they said, hey, do you have a few minutes for a call? I'm like, from Facebook? Yeah, like I'll clear my calendar. I don't know. Like, but anyway, I got on the phone with someone from Facebook and they were like, hey, we've been watching you. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, like what in the heck? And they're like, you know, we want to invite you out to talk to our live team. We're bringing out 19 other people that were early adopters of Facebook Live. And I went out to Hollywood about 3 weeks later to this most magical weekend of 19 other amazing people that lead these like amazingly incredible lives. I'm like the token mom from Texas. And I was just like, I live such a boring life compared to everyone else. I mean, I met a guy who, like, he is a fire dancer. He's amazing. We're still in contact, by the way. I mean, like things like this, a tattoo artist, like all these people that were using live video just to like kind of share their experiences and stuff like that. But like, it really taught me that it wasn't because I was brilliant at speaking about potty training on live. I was one of 20 people that turned on the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I was one of 20 people that turned on a camera. Yeah. And like that's how they found me, is because they're like, hey, this girl keeps turning on her camera, you know, and we need some people to fill this room.
Yeah.
And so like, we've got to stop like just thinking about overthinking everything. In fact, that's my 2020, stop overthinking everything. Because when we just like play with it, when we're playful about it, when we're like, hey, this is probably going to go down in flames, but at least it'll be on video. You know, when we can look at it in a different light and not take ourselves so seriously all the time, it can really bring magic. You know, just magical things will happen because most people aren't turning on the camera. Like once you turn on that camera, your competition just plummets.
Yeah. You talk about don't let your imagination get in the way of your dreams. And I think, you know, the world of sort of haters and people that leave nasty comments, it's out there. But there's so many people talking about how they've experienced it.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we can get caught up in what if I get a hater? What if somebody says something nice so we don't show up at all? And I just need to take a minute to say, I hope I've got homeschooling going on and noises coming. I hope it's not coming through, but that's reality.
I was going to say, that's our normal.
Just reality at the moment. So, you know, you've got such a wealth of experience and so many things that you can share. For the women that are listening, that are playing with the idea of starting something, growing something, needing to create an income from something different, what are some of you? We've talked a little bit about blogging. You've got expertise in a few, like network marketing and a few different areas. Can we, maybe if we dive in there, just as a starting point, some other ideas, planting the seeds?
Yeah, and there's literally a million ways to make money on the internet. And but don't click on those Facebook ads that say that. I need you to like kind of narrow it down first for yourself. And that's part of the thing. It's so cool. Like, I mean, we're so blessed not, you know, to be born in this generation. Where we don't have to get in a covered wagon and head west, you know, to find that opportunity. We actually can just turn on the computer and follow our passions to a certain extent. So I've made money like in the most bizarre ways on the internet, all family friendly. But like blogging is my main source of income. But there were several years that we were selling over $1 million worth of clothing through Facebook Live with me and my partner. And and then we opened a boutique after that, because the clothing was a network marketing company. And then we opened our own boutique after that, was profitable with that. We have like literally sold, like, this sounds so crazy, but it was one of those things that just sounded like fun. So we did it and we learned a ton, but we opened oysters on the internet, and you would sell the pearls, that whatever was inside. So you would buy the oyster and then we would open it on the internet, and then you would get whatever was inside. And absolutely ridiculous. I don't recommend it if you're afraid of comments, because like totally PETA was after us. Like, I didn't know there was a big, like, people worried about oyster life. But anyway, like it was crazy, crazy about the comments and stuff like that. But the experience of just trying something completely weird was really amazing. We actually created the largest, that was also a network marketing team, the largest oyster opening team in the history of the world. We had hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world opening oysters. So like, this is where, like, I need you to stop overthinking this. Like, I literally made money opening oysters on Facebook. So there's so much opportunity. So whatever, like, and now like I do more respectable things. Like I teach people social media and blogging, and I coach and stuff like that. But like part of the reason why I feel comfortable doing that is I know that the opportunity is out there in almost any, I can't think of a niche that is not available.
Yep.
And so my first thing would be is to go and really figure out what you love, what you're good at, what would that initial dream be like, oh, if only I could do this.
Yeah.
And then start doing things that set you like that is in that direction. Like, and I think of it more as like playing darts. If you're really bad, is like, just start throwing darts at the wall that the dartboard is on. And just, you don't have to get close at first at all, because one of the things that always happens, and I see this almost 100% of the time, is somebody has in their mind, I'm going to do X.
Yeah.
And then they get into it and they're like, not in love with X. What if you just spent $10,000 setting up a site for X? But what if you, maybe did a podcast for a little while or about X, or did some videos for a while about X, or did some writing on a free blog about X, and figure out, and then what medium is something that you love to do? Like I started blogging because that was really all that was available. I became a really good writer because I blogged every day for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily my strong point. I'm probably better on video and other things that I found out now, but I never would have gone to those if I hadn't started with the blogging.
Yeah.
So all of this is getting your feet on those baby steps of step 1, step 2, step 3 with no, like, there was a point where I had 1 Facebook fan, okay? 1. Now I have 3.5 million. And so, but I think people just assume that, like, I woke up one day with 3.5 million fans. No, I know what it's like to have 1 fan. Like, it was my mom.
Fan. Yeah.
I had to talk her into joining Facebook,
Yeah.
But like the whole thing is like, this doesn't happen overnight, and it does not happen in grand gestures.
Yep.
It happens in the teeny tiny steps, the 15 minutes that you do today, and the 20 minutes that you do tomorrow, and the 15 minutes you do on the next day, and the 5 minutes you do the next day because your kids are going crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing is it's not about like big blocks of anything. It's about just persistence over time. And the other part of that is if you are wanting to, like, if you're in a situation where you're making money somewhere and you want to shift that online, start doing something online while you still have this going.
Yeah.
And I've seen that happen successfully for so many people. That's what I did. I started doing this while I was doing something else, and it grew to the point where now it supports my entire family. So the opportunity is so immense, but it requires action. And I actually think action is just way more important than anything else. In fact, I would say, and I would love to run this as an experiment. I'm all about the experiments, but is like to take someone who knows nothing about something but is willing to take action. Yeah. And then someone who knows a lot, but is a little iffy on the action. This person is going to be like super successful in a few years on the internet. And this person is going to be like mad at this person. Don't be this person.
Yeah. If I can throw in something else for anyone that's listening that's like, but I don't feel like I'm an expert in anything or I know enough about something. I started this process of interviewing and shows. It was kind of like a research project. I didn't wake up and go, I want a show called A League of Extraordinary Mothers because I'm an extraordinary mother. It was like, it was a... Stand back and watch.
I'm so extraordinary.
It was, so I started interviewing people that knew a ton more than I did. And then I got to just stand there and go, yay, soak it all up, start taking action on it, and then share it with people. So if there's something that you have a burning hunger to learn or know more about, start with, I don't know anything about this, but here's how I'm learning about it. You can even share that as a journey and start a business.
Yeah. And, you know, I think there's a lot of angst out there in the world about, you know, well, what content should I produce, you know? And for those of you who are just into like the internet world, that would be any sort of article or video. We call that content. For the real world, it's like, oh, it's what like I click through on or something, you know.
Yeah.
But there's all this angst around it, and it literally does not matter if you are bringing this back to just whatever is on your heart, whatever connects you with other people. So one of the things that that as Facebook Live, in fact, what kind of built our clothing business was my friend Jamie and I we had a blog together, and we thought, well, why don't we start doing videos together? And we're like, we want to do something fun. And so we started this show called Craft with Crap. And it's a game show. Like my husband would give us 4 crap items that were kind of identical. And then we'd have 20 minutes to make them into something crafty. And then we'd have to defend our creation. And then the people watching would vote in emoji form only. And someone was declared a winner, and then we'd do it again. So it was about an hour-long show. You know, nothing like craft with crap. Okay, like a plunger. Like I mean, like these are like this is not Martha Stewart. This is just silly stuff. Most of the time, people were watching because one of us would say something inappropriate, and then we'd have to be like backpedaling it. It was just a silly show. Yeah. And like, I always just laugh. I said, no redeeming value. And then, by the way, if you ever want sponsors, just a tip, do not put crap in your name. So we're like, here we are. We can't even get a sponsor because the stupid name is Craft with Crap. I mean, and who would want to sponsor it anyway? And so like the whole thing, like we're actually paying to be on the internet because we're buying these stupid items. But anyway, so we had, you know, we were doing them once a week, and we were like into season 2 when this opportunity to sell clothes online came along. And so and I was like, oh my gosh, monetization, we'll be able to pay for Craft with Crap, you know, with the clothes we sell. So anyway, we started, you know, we told our viewers that, hey, we're going to be selling clothes after this episode. And so we sold clothes, and we were very successful very quickly on that. And then because it was a network marketing company, we started saying, hey, we'll show you how to do this. And before we knew it, we had signed up over 120 people to sell clothes underneath of us. And that business opportunity cost between $6,000 and $8,000.
Wow.
So and then the crazy thing is about a year, and that grew so quickly, we never like sat down to analyze our success. And that's when you know you're on the right track, when you don't have time to sit down and analyze your success. But it was funny, one day after one of our clothing shows, my husband put our first episode of Craft with Crap up on the TV for us to laugh at while we were just, and we were still doing that once a week. But and what was shocking is that when you started seeing the comments of that first show, almost everyone that had signed up for a $6,000 to $8,000 business opportunity had commented in that Craft with Crap show. So like, if you had told me, I need you to put together some content so that you could eventually, you know, recruit people into a $6,000 to $8,000 business opportunity, I would have been like, well, here's how to be an entrepreneur, or, you know, like budgeting 101, or, you know, think of all the businessy things that I would have probably thought about to create that community that would be eventually ready to invest. That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
This is about connection and people just trusting you, so that when you're like, hey, I have this thing, if you're interested, come join me, I'll show you how, they actually trust you. They've been watching you for a long time. They've been laughing at you. They know you're genuine.
Yeah.
You just have been, you've been on a show called Craft with Craft for months and months and months. Like, this is there's no mystery. You are what you are. And that's so much more powerful when you think about it. So when it doesn't matter what that next step is, you do not need to know that right now.
Yeah.
What you need to know right now is you want to surround yourself with people who think what you do is funny, or that buy into what advice you give, or non-advice you give, or that community that reaches out to you, not necessarily as an expert, but as a friend, as a fellow human who gets it. And if you are already a Kim Kardashian or a Martha Stewart or something like that, then you get to have that glossy exterior because you have numbers. But if you're like you and me, we're much better off with a smaller number of people who trust us, of people who like us, of people who know us. And so that's a much different game. And that's why we've got to throw out the playbook of some sort of mystery. Connection. It's the only thing that matters.
The perfect script, the perfect photo, the perfect image, that. So if, with all of this process, we need to look at our relationship with failure, being okay with failure. And my audience knows I've got failure on my vision board. Yes, I'm a vision boarder. But, what is that relationship with failure for you?
So I can think pretty much I would say 98% of my success is a direct result from some massive failure. And so when you start seeing it that way, so do you know why I started going live on Google Plus? I went live on Google Plus because I had been asked to do local TV here in Dallas. It was the second time that I had done on a TV spot. The spots are 30 seconds long. Well, I froze through the first probably 12 seconds. It seemed like an eternity of the 30-second slot. And so here I was, in this live spot. Of course it's live. A live spot, totally freeze, can't get a word out, can't say something. I just literally froze on camera. It was amazing. It was literally probably one of the most amazing things ever. So finally, I stumble through the end of it, just walk out to my car, just crying. And I am so angry at myself because I'm like, there are hundreds, thousands of people on TV every single day, and no one has ever done. I've never watched anything nearly as catastrophic as what I just put on the air. And they're never asking me back, ever. So, I was just so angry, and I was like, what do I need to do so that never happens again? And I was like, well, if I get good at video, So in fact, this video is still on my YouTube channel, not the crazy, I did not save that. I should have, but I didn't. But I started a YouTube channel, and one of my first YouTube videos was, it was some sort of 10 reasons why I shouldn't make this video. And it was like, well, my hair, my eyebrows, there was a whole bunch of reasons why I should not. But my point was, I've got to get over this, because this is I can't go on like this. I can't be the girl that I can't ever accept another invitation to go on TV because I'm going to freeze and freak out. So it can't be that girl. Yeah. So that's what started that one for me. And it's just every single time that I'm like, oh my gosh, the roots of whatever I'm successful at right now is because I was horrible at it. And Garrett White has a really, I love one of his quotes. He says, and I won't say it exactly right, but he goes, when you first start, you're going to suck and you're going to keep going. You're going to suck some more. And then eventually you're going to suck a little less and you're going to keep doing it until you're kind of okay at it.
Yep. Yep. Yes. 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 And we, you know, and in any of these moments, you can hear these stories and go, do you know what? I know that I get to look back at this and laugh at it.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard Gary.
I was not that humored by it for years.
No,
but.
no. But the more we can hear that this is the journey of other people, that other people have done this, the quicker we can kind of see ourselves in that. I know Gary Vaynerchuk, a lot of people probably won't even know who he is, but he's a big online, you know, he talks about the first videos that he put out when he was selling wine compared to where he is now. And I interviewed, oh my gosh, her name just went completely out of my head. It's ridiculous. Oh, I love those moments.
Yeah.
Anyway, she'd been on stage with Tony Robbins and various people, and she talks about the first time she went on, she was just sweating so profusely that her feet were wet and her foot just came clean out of her shoe.
You see, this is something that I would do.
Horrifying moment. How will I ever recover? But there's a choice. There's a choice to sit down and hide and never show up again, or just to keep going.
Yeah. And, you know, like I think about today, you know, I was lucky in the early days because I only had 3 readers to my blog when it really, really sucked. And I only, you know, those first few videos, nobody was watching and that kind of stuff. But that's the same thing today, is that like feel blessed for a small audience.
Yeah.
You know, when you first get started and you're just like popping on that video for the first time or recording a podcast or writing something, and then you go into the statistics a few days later and you're like, nobody saw this. Like, stop. That's what you want right now. Like, let's get some practice in before the millions show up, because I can tell you that when you have to learn in front of millions, it's scarier. It kind of sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where I do have, you know, some sort of like kind of empathy for these celebrities and for these people who do have these big platforms. And then when they get pigeonholed and they can't try something new. That is not your problem right now. You get to try something new. You get to go out and do it, and you get to get better at it before people start showing up. Yeah. And that's part of the process. And, you know, one of the things that I love what you said earlier about, you know, we might not be that expert yet, or we're like on that expert journey. One of the things that resonates the most with other people is that you're on that journey too.
Yeah.
And you know, you only, you know, what's that, the movie about the guy who like was a pilot, and, you know, he wasn't any of these things. But he was always like, he said, you know, he was a professor. He goes, I only need to be 1 chapter ahead of the class. I only need to know a little bit more about flying the plane than the stewardess. Yeah. Flight attendant. Sorry. I'm old. But you know, and that's the thing is, you don't like online. The beautiful thing is you don't even have to pretend, because people are going to give you credibility for sharing behind the scenes. So like, hey, this is the step I'm on. This is what sucked about it. And then people are like, oh my gosh, I could do that too. And that's the other thing that I've learned so much about, like trying all these different things and being bad at them all at the beginning, is that people are cheering for you. Yeah. Like people are giving you credibility for trying, and they're drawing inspiration from that. So they're not like, yes, there's the people who are like, woohoo, she failed at that. But that's not your people. Yeah. Your people are like, oh my gosh, you know, the fact that Holly was really nervous and I could tell, but she did it anyway, maybe I could try it.
Yep.
And so, but if we are always hiding that, yeah, I feel like it's our superpower. It's what we have over Target, or over, you know, if you're selling something that Target also has, Target can't get vulnerable. Target can't like commiserate with, you know, the fact that we're all locked down. Target can't like, I mean, Target can do it in some corporate-y speak that went through 17 legal departments, but we get to be that person that is that, you know, shoulder to cry on, that like, hey, we're going to get this together. We don't have to just resort to slogans because we are people in that same thing, you know? So that's why I think like when you start like going towards the slogan and towards the corporate speak, you're actually giving away your power and putting yourself into a competitive world where we don't have budget. We do not have the budget to go up against those corporate giants.
Yeah, I just like, I know when I think about the best things that have happened in my life, it's always on the other side of something really scary, like giving birth.
Oh my gosh.
You know.
No, don't make me do that again.
So, but you know, like, I just think that's such an awesome analogy. You know, we have this huge build-up and there's so much angst around it, and then can be really bloody painful. It is, not can be, it is.
Yes.
But then look what you get out the other side.
And then I remember like when because I had never I babysat like older kids, and I was like camp counselor, like teen camp and stuff. But I just remember like taking that baby to the car from the hospital and thinking, are they really just letting me leave? Like they're just, like, nobody's following me. Like nobody's coming after me to say, I'm sorry, you're not qualified for this. And that's where the genius comes from, because you're like, holy crap, I have nothing. I don't know what to do here. So you figure it out. And that all of a sudden you're a parenting expert.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like overnight.
Yeah, there's no certificate, there's no rule book.
There's no diploma. Nobody's going to give you a diploma. Just grab it.
Yeah. And just make it up as you go. I call my eldest son is my guinea pig. It's like my practice model. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a family that was really all girls, and having a son first, not only was it a new baby, but it was a boy. I was like, what do I do with it?
Well, and I ended up with 3 boys, and which I was actually glad about. By the time like we got my husband's a radiologist, and so we went in for the ultrasound of the 3rd one, and I wanted a boy, and of course he wanted a girl. But I was like, I have all these kids really close together, and I've already figured out like Legos, like to throw Barbies into that. Like, oh my gosh! So it was just really funny. He was doing the ultrasound, and then I saw this, and I was like, yes, I got my boy.
The giveaway.
It was meant to be.
Yeah, we've eaten up our time, and this conversation has been so beautiful. I know that you have a beautiful gift particularly for the mamas in this audience. Could you just take a minute to tell us what that is, please?
Yeah, so I'm aware of the need for instant like entertainment in the home. So we have at Kids Activities Blog, I run what we call the Printables Library, which has over 600 instant downloads, so you can just print and play. Yep. A lot of them are learning, some of them games, all sorts of like printable toys and things like that. But anyway, so for those who would be interested, they can get a free month, unlimited downloads to that, to the Printables Library. And we also have inside that product what we call the Daily Activity Guide, which was originally our preschool at home program. But then when COVID hit and we realized, well, it doesn't have to be just preschoolers. like it's, hey, let's make this snack today. Or there are all sorts of themed things that you can easily do at home that are just fun. And the bottom line is it's not about what it looks like at the end. It's just, having a little bit of positive interactions with your kids. And I think one of the blessings of all of this has been that we've been able to look at our kids a little closer in the eyes these days.
Yeah, that's awesome. So one final question for you before we wrap up. If you were to think of the most audacious thing that you've done in your life, bold, daring, brazen, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think, it was kind of twofold in that I just remember it was back when Oprah was on the air, and she was talking about vision boards and stuff like that. And I was like, you know, I want to be on the Oprah show. And I thought, wait, I don't want to be on, I literally don't want to be on the Oprah show. I want to be Oprah. And I was like, so what, and to even to say that out loud and be like, I'm going to start doing things that put me in front of people in a way that, you know, is close to my passion and heart. Cause that's really what she did, is she just followed her heart to get in front of, you know, people, have conversations that were interesting to her, and make sure that the light was shown on what she thought was good in the world. And so that's when, you know, so I just started thinking that way. And that gave me so much power, because when you say, I want to be on Oprah, it puts it in someone else's control. Now, I do believe now, I mean, I was way less woo-woo back then, but I do believe in, like, you know, the law of attraction and those things, those doors do open.
Yeah.
But what if you can open those doors yourself?
Yeah. And
so that's what that thought like started realizing is I don't have to wait for a call from Oprah. In fact, to take this a step further, you can't stop me. Oprah can't stop me. Yeah. You know, because what I'm about to do has nothing to do with anyone else in the world except, you know, what's in my heart. So that's kind of, I would say, just that thought process kind of changed a lot of things for me. And, you know, as I've said, as I've admitted, it was really, really difficult for me to like speak in front of people. I went through a similar situation where I wanted to speak at conferences and stuff like that, but the first time I did it, it was terrible. and you know, I can't let that stop me. Like I just can't. And even though I still get really, really nervous if I go on stage, and I still do it because it's important to me and that mission to just get to know people, so that people want to join the community, want to hang out with me online, want to have a conversation. I think that's more important than anything else.
Holly, I want to have a conversation with you that goes on for days.
Let's do it.
I have loved every minute of this interview, and I'm so grateful for your time. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. This was super fun.
Awesome. Bye for now. Oh, how I love an audacious woman. Holly is such an inspiration, and you cannot help but have got some fantastic ideas from that interview. If there is anybody that can build a business from some kind of quirky idea, Holly's your girl. So I encourage you strongly to hop into her website, her blog, her Facebook page, her books. There is an endless plethora of content and information that you can follow, that you can look at as evidence of how to build a business with just an inkling of an idea. So, of course, her beautiful gift is there. She is the queen at coming up with ideas for kids. So download that, get inspired, but most of all, take action on, even if it is just one little thing. It might be the thing that makes all the difference. All right, that's it from me today. Much love and bye for now.